Average Woodsman here, back with another video. So we've been getting a lot of rain over the last, I don't know, 24-hour period or so. It's still sprinkling here, but that wasn't going to stop me from getting out into the woods and enjoying God's creation. So I wanted to do a video today, kind of geared more towards beginners, but also for people who are more intermediate and advanced too, on the system that I personally use and have been using for, I don't know, decades, basically, for years, probably since like, 2010, 2011, something like that. The 10 C's of Survivability. It's Dave Canterbury's system. If you don't know who Dave Canterbury, you can look him up. He has a popular YouTube channel. He dates back, since the early days of YouTube. No one was doing survival videos, or very few people were doing survival videos on YouTube back then. So he dates back there. He has a school up in Ohio, Pathfinder School, which I've actually attended a few times, taken some classes there. But I think it's the best system to build your kits around, especially emergency kits, wilderness survival kits, stuff like that. I think it's the best system to build your kit around in the industry. I think it's better than the rule of three, and I think it's better than some of the other mindsets and mentalities that people build their kits around. I just prefer this one, so I figured I'd give you guys a rundown of what the 10 C's of Survivability are and how I personally apply them to when I build a kit and when I go out practicing bushcraft or survival, or if I'm teaching classes, any of that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright, so how I'm going to do this, I'm going to go through each category of the 10 C's, each one of them, show you guys some examples of each one of those categories to give you guys some ideas, some options, and then talk a little bit about what I have, specifically what I'm carrying, and why. So the first C in the 10 C's is cutting tool. Cutting tool is going to be your most important item that you carry. Now you don't have to, remember, each one of these is not one singular item, it's a category of items. So you can have more than one cutting tool. If you want to carry a knife and a folding saw, like a belt knife and a folding saw, or maybe even an SAK, a hatchet, an axe, whatever you want to carry, you don't have to carry just one item. So just take that into consideration. That it's not necessarily one thing or one item, it's a category for that specific C. So for your cutting tool, your cutting tools they're going to be your most important items, because if you have the skills and the resources, you can build a lot of other things with just the tools alone, with just a knife and a folding saw, or a knife and an axe and a folding saw. So having good high quality tools is, in my opinion, the most important portion of this. You don't have to buy really expensive gear necessarily, but you need to buy quality gear, especially the cutting tool. The cutting tool is so important that you spend the majority of your budget focusing on your cutting tools, because you can build everything else around your cutting tool. So for an example of a knife, a belt knife, everything's getting wet, obviously, guys. It's still raining. So this is a belt knife I've been using. I got this pretty recently, and I've been carrying it a lot as my belt knife and using it a lot. This is the LT Wright. This is the Gen 5 in A2 tool steel. Really like it. Comfortable, 90-degree spine, Scandinavian grind. Just a really comfortable broomstick style handle. Been using this blade a lot. You have an axe. This is from Battle Horse Knives. This is one of their newer axes that this is one of their newer items that they make. It has this belt loop right here, so you can carry this on your belt. I've just been keeping it in my pack for the most part. I'll show you guys this. It is made out of one piece of steel with micarta scales. Super comfortable. Actually, these may be G10. I'd have to look on the website, but I'll link all these in the description. I believe these are actually G10. But super comfortable. Chops really well. You can choke up on if you want to do finer carving. And this is just obviously just an option that you could have something like this. It could be a more traditional style axe. I've just been testing this one because I just got it recently and just been testing it. And then, so you could have an axe, a hatchet. It could even be a large knife if you want to have a larger knife, and then a belt knife for doing like you're chopping like a machete or a kukri or something like that. You could even do that. And then obviously Silky Gomboy. This is the Outback. This is the one I carry in my pack probably the most and I use the most. So a good folding saw. If I had to choose personally, and this is just me, I would take a belt knife or an SAK or something like that and a saw over an axe or a hatchet, because of the simple fact that I live in Florida and I don't have to stack firewood like that and do a lot of processing of wood. I'm not splitting a bunch of wood. I don't have to do that. It doesn't get cold enough here to do that. So I generally carry just like my Silky Gomboy or the Pocket Boy, and I'll carry a belt knife and possibly an SAK or Leatherman or something like that. I generally don't carry a whole lot of axes and hatchets because they weigh a lot more, they take up a lot more room, and I just don't have as much of a use for them, but I do have them and I do use them, just not as frequently as the other items. Here are a couple of Combustion. This is the second C. These are a couple of Combustion devices that you can carry with you. So this is just a Bic lighter and an Exotac fire sleeve. Doesn't have to be in an Exotac fire sleeve. I like to keep my Bic lighters, or at least one Bic lighter in an Exotac fire sleeve, because this keeps it dry and it keeps it insulated. You can keep this in your pocket or in your kit, or maybe have multiple lighters on you just in case one fails or you run out of fluid in one. Another thing that this does, that it keeps this portion right here from getting hit and letting out all your fuel. So it keeps that protected as well. So obviously a lighter, a big ferro rod. The bigger the ferro rod, the better, in my opinion. This is a massive ferro rod. I believe this one is from Uberleben. This is the king in the woods for fire making, generally speaking, especially if you have mastered this skill. And yes, a ferro rod, using a ferro rod correctly is a skill. I have a lot of videos on it. I have a lot of videos demonstrating how to correctly use a ferro rod. There is a correct way to use a ferro rod, and you need to learn how to use it. Don't just buy a ferro rod and put it in your kit and put your kit in your closet. You need to get out in the field and you need to put in the dirt time with something like this. Otherwise, don't carry it. Carry just a lighter and some man-made tinder. Don't carry a ferro rod if you're not willing to use it. It's just like any other skill. You need to master it. You could also carry something like, for instance, a flint and steel if you want to go more traditional. Or you could carve a bow drill set or a hand drill set, carry that with you, the components, to continue to practice that skill. I generally just carry a ferro rod for the most part and a lighter. These two are what usually are in my kit. Maybe I'll have a spare lighter as a backup, a smaller Bic, like a mini Bic. But these two are the most common, and I think probably the best for the vast majority of people. All right, so I have a couple different containers here. Generally speaking, I just carry my Grail with a nesting cup, but a lot of times I'll also carry a backup water bottle. So sometimes my stainless steel water bottle and cup. Sometimes if I'm out in the woods and I'm going camping or backpacking or something like that, I'm out in the backcountry and I'm going to be out there for an extended period of time, I may carry my bush pot, or I may carry my MSR Seagull pot. These are both stainless steel, so I can do more substantial cooking in them. Sometimes I'll carry my folding skillet. I have a titanium folding skillet for backpacking. This right here is a cup I got recently that I've been trying out and testing. It's a nesting cup for my Pathfinder bottle, stainless steel bottle, and it's a little bit lighter because it is titanium. You can definitely feel the difference in the two. This is my old Pathfinder nesting cup and stove for this bottle right here. And as you can see, this thing has been used and abused. I haven't got to test this one very much. I've only been carrying it for a very, very short period of time. So I'll definitely put this one through its paces. But having a container is extremely important. It's one of the most important items you can carry, because of the simple fact that making a container off the landscape that you can actually boil water in is going to be nearly impossible for the vast majority of people. It's just not a realistic thing that most people are going to know how to do. And even if you have that skill mastered, having the available resources to do it is going to be another challenge. And why would you want to spend that time and effort in an emergency situation having to make a container that is robust enough to be able to either stone boil or actually put on a fire and boil water in, when you can just carry a metal container that you can boil water in that doesn't weigh very much. You could even get titanium and doesn't weigh very much, and that's just way more, honestly, it's just way simpler, and it just makes more sense. Plus, this is a container that you can carry over distance with water in so you can stay hydrated. So it doesn't have to be a stainless steel bottle and container. It can be something like a Nalgene bottle, plastic water bottle with a stainless steel container, or titanium. I just prefer a lot of times to carry the stainless steel cup and bottle, or the nesting cup titanium in this, because these can be put in the fire and make char cloth. You can make char cloth in this in an emergency. So that's why I like to carry it, but you can carry whatever type of container. Just make sure you have something that you can boil water in an emergency. All right, let's talk cover items. So cover is something that you have to take into consideration when building your kit, because you may get caught in nasty weather like today. It's been raining for like 24 hours. It's finally down to just a very, very light sprinkle. But having cover items, which obviously you guys saw earlier, I have my parka, which I keep in my kit. So I have a cover item there, the clothing on your body, so dress appropriately for the climate and the season that you're in. That's also part of your cover. And then have something like this. This is my Helicon Text. This is the military poncho. So I could use this as a cover, like a poncho, over me while I'm walking. And this is large enough where this will keep my legs dry, my torso dry, my head dry, and I can put this over my pack if I want to and keep my pack dry. Also in here I keep additional cordage, my rapid deploy ridgeline, and I have some aluminum stakes in this, so that way in an emergency, if I have to and it's really bad weather, I can set this up quickly and I don't have to fumble with carving stakes and trying to fumble around trying to find my cordage in my bag. It's all right here. And cordage is really important also. That's also part of the 10Cs. I'll get to that shortly. But having a cover item is, first off, dressing appropriately, but also having something like this, a military style poncho, or even a dedicated tarp in your kit, is something that you're going to want to carry. But this is going to be the last item in the first 5 of the C's, of the 10 C's of survivability. So the first 5 will be the essential. You have to have them in every kit that you build. You should always have the 5 C's, whether that be a minimalist kit or your bushcraft kit, your backpacking kit. If you're one of these guys who's an ultralight backpacker, focus on the 5 C's. You know, you can focus on that, and you don't have to have the 10 C's unless you want to add those to it also. But this is the last of the 5 C's, which would be cordage. Remember, these are items that will be the most difficult to recreate off the landscape. You need very specific skills, you need to have mastered those skills, and you need the specific resources also. So carrying at least the 5 C's, I preferably like to carry the 10 C's, but if you want to at least carry the 5 C's, make sure that you have these. The last one is obviously cordage. So the 2 cordages that I carry the most, well, the most I carry Bankline, because Bankline is generally the best cordage in my opinion. Number 36 Bankline, Tard Mariners Bankline, is by far the best cordage in my opinion. But I also carry paracord, because paracord has versatility and uses that actually Bankline is not as good at. So I like to carry both. I like to carry most of the time I just carry several hanks of Bankline in my kit, or I'll carry a small roll like this, and then I'll carry like my rapid deploy ridgeline for my paracord, or sometimes I'll carry additional paracord. Like carrying paracord, this doesn't weigh anything. It doesn't take up any space. Bankline doesn't weigh anything. It doesn't take up any space. And if you just want to throw a couple of extra hanks of it in your kit, it makes total sense in my opinion. So the next item is going to be cotton. So right here I'm on my shemagh, which is a cotton shemagh. I have cotton bandana right here. This is a Wazoo one. This one has different types of tracks. on them, animal tracks. Just a cool little piece of kit to have. So you have your cotton, you have your bandana, and you have a reference for different types of animal tracks. You could buy something like this online. I think I bought this on Amazon. Actually, I think this was actually gifted to me. But very cool. Didn't think I would like it because I thought it was kind of gimmicky. After having it, it's actually a pretty cool piece of kit. And then a sniper's veil. Sniper's veil is probably my favorite piece of cotton to carry, especially the area that I live here in Central Florida. So just having cotton, I like to carry multiple pieces of cotton. Usually I'll carry like in my sniper's veil and then a cotton bandana. You could carry a large t-shirt if you want to do that, a large orange t-shirt for signaling and things like that. That's another good thing to carry in your emergency kit. But make sure it's cotton because of all the uses for cotton materials. I like to keep mine in a kit. You guys have seen this one in other videos if you guys watch my channel. Also, I have another, it's similar to this, where I keep my map cards and my notepad, my Right in the Rain notepads, and then obviously my compass. This is just more of a traditional style wax canvas. I also have one that's made out of a different type of material that's more modern, more tactical. And this is just my soon-to compass. I've had this thing for years. Do not skimp on your compass. It's one of the few items, like your knife, that you should not skimp out on. So have a good quality compass. Like I said, I keep mine in this little thing, so I have different types of, I have a mechanical pencil, I have a Sharpie, I just have an additional ferro rod here, some Right in the Rain notepads, and then I have my map cards here. My SE map cards. These are Randall's Adventure and Training map cards. And then in here I just have a bunch of stuff that I've written down in classes. It has like my pace count, all that kind of stuff in there additionally. And yeah, I think this is really important. It's also a very overlooked item. People don't tend to carry a compass, or I mean, even if they do carry a compass, a lot of people don't know how to use a compass. That skill is definitely an overlooked skill. And then I have just a couple other items in here. I have some tender quick tabs, emergency stormproof matches, some cotton and Vaseline, and then a magnifying glass for solar ignition. Also, a magnifying glass is a good piece of item, a good piece of kit to carry out in the woods in general. Another item that's on the 10Cs, cargo tape. I like Gorilla Tape. You can use Godzilla tape, whatever kind of tape that you have. Just carry, if you want to use 100-mile-an-hour tape, you could use that, but have good, like Gorilla Tape, duct tape, anything like that. Carry that with you in your kit. I tie a piece of paracord around mine, and I just hang it off my bag. So it's always, I always have it readily accessible because it is one of the most useful items that you can carry, not only in your kit for wilderness survival, but EDC, around the house. Having duct tape is really important, and I always keep it in my kit and on my bag, just tied, just right here. Another one of the 10Cs is candling device. I generally keep a headlamp with me, but I also have a light on my keychain, a small red light on my keychain. It is a photon light on my keychain. And then a lot of times I'll carry a small EDC style flashlight on me. So I generally always have multiple ways, multiple candling devices. This is my headlamp that I keep in my pack. You guys have seen this one a bunch of times. This is my favorite headlamp. I have a bunch of headlamps, but this is my favorite one. This is my Petzl Core. I've had this one for probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now, this exact one. I carry it in this Princeton Tech case because it has a battery compartment in it. It keeps it protected. But having at least one candling device in your kit, whether that be a headlamp or a EDC flashlight, whatever it is, having some sort of candling device in your kit is important to have, and it's part of the 10Cs. Last but certainly not least, a sail needle. I keep one on the back of my knife sheath all the time. I also generally have one in my kit for repair. It's an important item to carry with you and keep in your kit, and it's often overlooked. Alright guys, so that's the video. I hope that this helps you guys build your kits. It gives you guys some ideas. It explains kind of a generalization of what the 10Cs of survivability are and why I personally choose to use that system for when I build my survival kits and my even a lot of times when I'm putting together a urban or EDC kit, I'll take at least the 5 C's into that equation. I'm always going to have a cutting tool on me. I'm always going to have some sort of cover item. I'm dressed appropriately for the weather. I'm always going to have some way to make fire, and I'm always going to have cordage on me and some sort of a container to drink water. I'm always going to have those on. So at least the 5 C's are always in every kit that I have, and I generally try to adhere to the 10 C's, especially when I'm talking about anything that I'm taking into the wilderness, especially when I go deep into the backcountry. So that's the video. Remember to like, subscribe, share these videos with your friends and family. Be safe, stay dangerous, and I'll catch you in the next one.